Hello, welcome back to the Flashback podcast. I'm Max, again. I'm here with my co-host Rowan, as always.
Hello.
We just got done watching the Flashpoint Paradox, or Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox. Uh,
Long name.
it is a long name. That we mostly watched this because it's the start of the DC animated movie universe. We're going to be going through this, and we're going to be going through the Arrowverse. That is the start of this. Yeah, we're going to start it. So we've got a lot to talk about this time, so we should probably just jump into it.
Starting with characters?
Yes, starting with characters.
Okay. Main character, the Flash, which should hopefully be obvious.
Yes, it's ironic that he doesn't get too much character compared to. I guess.
No. I suppose he's like a built-in character in your mind if you're watching Flashpoint a bit.
True.
Like, most people have knowledge of who Barry Allen is, what he does, why he does what he does.
Right.
And then his main relationships involve him and his mom, thus causing the Flashpoint because he saves her.
Right.
Spoilers, by the way.
Yes. But we see a lot of before we even get to the Flash, we see Barry and his mother sitting at a car when they broke down.
When he's like a kid, or
Yeah, and
and
then
then we
yeah,
sorry.
then we see.
Then
Oh,
we're great.
we're
Go
doing
ahead
good.
with it.
You speak. Go ahead.
Then we see him and Iris West Allen visiting her grave.
Yes. When I'm not sure. I think it was a break-in this time. The one I'm used to is that Eobard Thawne went back and killed Barry's mom.
Yeah, I think it's just a break in because of the last couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Then next big character is, as we've mentioned him already, Eobard Thawne.
Yeah. If you don't know, Eobard Thawne is the Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom, depending on what you want to call him. Uh, he was in the future. I think it's like the 31st century. He was a massive fan of the Flash, so much so that he recreated the accident that gave the Flash his powers, got them, and wanted to become the Flash of his time. But through circumstances that I don't remember, he ended up despising the Flash and going back in time to become his worst enemy.
And then, so he's like the main villain, central villain of this story. And then we, in the show, you start out with like a couple minutes with Barry facing off against the Rogues with his Rogues Gallery, which involve Captain Boomerang and such.
Yes. We see, because we didn't have them listed, we see Top, Captain Boomerang, Mirror Master, Captain Cold, Heatwave, and the Reverse Flash all working together.
And then, sorry.
No, it's okay. But they destroy most of the Flash Museum.
And at one point, Barry needs help, and the JLA, Justice League, comes in.
Yes, let's talk about the Justice League for the 3 seconds that we see them.
Atom's in it for some reason, despite
Yeah.
being like the least important Justice Leaguer of all time.
Not well. We should mention it's not the Atom; it's Captain Atom. We just have it written as Atom.
Sorry, that's on me. There are so many Atom characters.
There are a lot. We didn't mention him in our episode about the Snyder Cut. Ryan Choi was in there.
Ryan Choi was in there.
It's too late for that though.
but like barely and not the way I wanted him. We also get Wonder Woman,
Of course,
Bruce Wayne's Batman,
we do
Hal
have.
Jordan's
It does have to be specified before
yeah,
anyone says anything. It does have to be specified that it's Bruce
Green
Wayne.
Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, Superman, Aquaman, and Cyborg all teamed up.
Yes.
And and they defuse bombs or whatever.
Yeah. So once we see the Reverse Flash ad put bombs on all of the Rogue's belts, and the Justice League, various members of the Justice League, take different members of the Rogues and defuse the bombs. Well, most of them defuse the bombs. Wonder Woman and Superman just let them explode.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Aquaman just lets fish eat his bomb.
yeah.
Um
We get
and then I
we get to see Barry actually using his powers creatively. We
mm-hmm,
we see him throw. I think it was basically just a ball of speed at the bomb connected to him and Eobard.
yeah.
We
He's
uh
the tornado speed
yes,
with the gunk that's holding them together.
he does.
Um and then I would also like to point out at this point Batman is just like the snarkiest being on Earth, but so is Superman.
Superman is very snarky.
Just a very snarky show full of snarky people.
But what after that whole situation is resolved, it just cuts, and suddenly we're back in the Central City's police department, and it's mentioned that Citizen Cold is fighting Captain Boomerang, which prompts Barry.
Always a villain.
Yeah, it's because he's Australian. That's a joke. Before I get yelled at.
Yeah. He realizes that the world's not his own, and he tries to go to his good friend Batman for help.
He breaks into Wayne Manor. He doesn't have the speed, by the way. We should mention.
Have his speed at the moment. Yeah. Breaks into Wayne Manor, and then through Wayne Manor, he breaks into the Batcave.
If you could call it the Batcave, it was a couple of tables, a gurney, and a really old computer.
A cave where Batman resides.
Exactly.
Is in fact a Batcave.
There was one scene before Barry went to the Batcave where we saw heroes of the Flashpoint universe. We see the Enchantress, Shade, the Shazam Kids, which we'll get into more later. And we do see this universe's version of Cyborg, which is for literally no reason, like 6 feet taller than the other one.
Like a foot and a half. And then we meet. No, and then at that point, we realize that our current Joker, not our current Joker, but our current Batman is Thomas Wayne, making the Joker, of course, Martha Wayne.
The situation that caused the Flashpoint also caused Bruce Wayne to be the one that died instead of Thomas and Martha Wayne. Should we get into this version of Cyborg? Because he has no character.
Except for that him and the government are tight.
And he's a personal contact of Obama.
Yeah, they talk on a big screen together.
They use Zoom.
Zoom.
It's just a Zoom meeting.
Or Zoom. And then around that point, Barry's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stab myself with lightning twice.
Yes. He tries to recreate the accident that gave him his powers. It doesn't work. He looks like a corpse. And then he's
like
Yeah. And then he's like, "No, I'm not dead. We're doing it again." And then they do, and he gets his speed back.
He is determined.
He is very determined. Uh,
At
what's
which point
next?
he also starts to remember the like present. He starts to remember this new world.
Right.
So like he remembers that Superman's thing misses the Kents, which I have says Mrs. the Clark, but I meant Mrs. the Kents,
Wait,
and
do
ends
you
up somewhere else.
where does it say that?
Right here. 6.1.
Superman, Mrs. Clark. I mean, he does.
Also, Wonder Woman obviously sleeps with Aquaman because that's something that happens, and then she kills his wife.
Because
You do.
his wife was understandably angry that she slept with her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Barry, when before all of this, because we forgot to mention it, when trying to convince Thomas to help him, he finds his ring, but instead of his suit, it's the Reverse Flash's suit.
Which is vaguely important, but could be more important to the story.
Yeah.
Then yeah, Barry gets speed, and then Barry and Batman join the new heroes in trying to save the world, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Uh,
Also, while this is happening, tangentially, Lois Lane is hanging out in what's called New Themyscira, which is basically Wonder Woman took over half of Europe.
right.
Which is fine, because Aquaman took over half of the US and flooded it.
I think Aquaman also took over parts of Europe because
Probably.
we saw,
Paris.
yeah, Paris. We should talk about the Shazam Kids.
The Shazam Kids. They confuse me so much. Is
So
there a distance? Like, could they be in other states and say Shazam at the same time?
you're
And it would become one person? Or would it not work?
you're really overthinking this, Rowan.
They
It's
don't make sense.
Rowan. I'm sorry that the children that turn into a single adult man don't make sense to you. I want to know
Why?
why he has scars when they turn into him.
Because they're fusion scars.
I don't think
They
they
look
are.
Frankenstein. I swear they're a Frankensteination. That's not how I wanted to say that phrase.
That's how it happened. So
Also, Bruce, Barry, and not Bruce, Batman, as in Thomas, Barry, and Cyborg go and save Superman, who is very scrawny.
he is because the government captured him as a baby and has been experimenting on him for 30 years at this point.
And also kept him in like direct red sunlight. How they figured out that weakened him, I do not know.
They don't mention it in the movie, but it can be inferred that they have crypto because you can see dog skeletons and attempted dog clones.
Yeah, I choose not to deal with that. It's traumatic.
They also don't mention it. They barely mention it in the comic, but around the same time that she would have in the comics, Kara Zor-El did show up, so they captured her as well. I'm not sure why it wasn't addressed, but
Who cares about Kara when you have Clark?
I do.
I know. We all do. But then also, like, Barry realizes that the main difference between his world and their world, like, other than everything that's changed, is that his world still has hope.
Yeah.
They go to, like, get in the middle between the Themyscirians and the Atlanteans to stop the war.
It doesn't work. It really
Um,
just doesn't.
but they seem to make it worse. I'm
They
gonna
do.
say they make.
They do make it much worse.
And then number 11 in the plot section was possibly the only quotable line in the whole movie, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying that it was not a very quotable movie.
Yeah, it's very much. I like this movie, but mostly because of the concept and the execution more so than the actual characters and stuff. The action isn't even all that great.
Also, in the middle of this fighting, Eobard decides, I'm gonna stab this person in the leg, and that's gonna be how I stop the Flash.
Which realistically should always be the that should always be how people go about it. What?
His powers are his legs. Unless you're reading
Take
that one comic where Mirror Master switches legs with the Flash, so the Flash walks on his hands.
Excuse me?
Yeah, no, it's a comic. I don't remember which one. I think it's Silver Age.
Of
Mirror
course it's
Master,
Silver Age.
Mirror Master uses his powers to steal the Flash's legs and put them on his body, while the Flash has Mirror Master's legs. So now the Mirror Master is very fast, but also has all his Mirror Master powers. And the Flash has Mirror Master legs, so he can't do anything. Right? So he walks on his hands, only he runs on his hands after Mirror Master.
Oh my god.
Why do I know? Yeah.
I see it.
And also, at this point, Eobard's like, ha 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 ha. You thought I was the one who caused the world to end, but no, it was you, because you tried to save your mother from dying.
It's the Flash number 146 is the one that you're talking about.
Yes. Probably Silver Age, right?
It looks like close to his first appearance, Barry Allen, and that was in Silver Age, so.
I was right about everything.
As always. Alright, what's next?
They talk about the butterfly effect for a second. Diana kills Billy.
Yes, Diana, despite the fact that the lasso isn't the lasso of compulsion, gets Captain Marvel to say the word to turn back into Shazam or the kids, and she just straight up picks up Billy and stabs him.
After being struck by lightning, like she gets struck by the lightning bolt that turns the kids into Captain Marvel and back into the kids. Which, also, quick side note.
Oh Lord.
We're calling him Captain Marvel because he was still Captain Marvel at the time.
And also, he is technically still Captain Marvel. He just can't be called that in like the movies and stuff because of Captain Marvel.
So we're calling him Captain Marvel because he gets to be Captain Marvel. It's fine.
They're both Captain Marvel. They're allowed to be.
Yeah.
We finally find out what happened to the Captain Atom of this universe, and it's that Aquaman tied him to a reactor of sorts, and he powers everything. And Aquaman apparently has a button on his belt that can just detonate him.
It was like right in the center of his belt, so if like somebody accidentally bumped into him, just destroys the world.
Yep.
And then Thomas tells Barry to run while everyone else is dying around him. And Barry runs. Surprise, surprise.
I can't believe it. The Flash is running. What a twist.
And like he starts out so slow that he should have been like
obliterated.
But somehow he doesn't die. And he resets the timeline. Yay!
He does. Yep, it's over. There's nothing else. That's enough. That's the end of the podcast. Bye guys.
In our other section,
we do have a significant amount there.
I think think we should start backwards.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we should start with number 15.
I think we should start with what's under number 15. The one thing that's not in a section.
Oh, the AA prayer?
Yeah, because I didn't know about it.
So the mom at the beginning, Barry's like, why don't people stop to help us with their car broken? And Barry's mom basically just Barry's mom says that her mom used to basically reword the AA prayer to her, which feels like weird to add into a comic movie meant for kids.
It does feel weird.
And then number 15, the new 52 suits.
Yes, after after Barry resets the timeline again and corrects it, you can see that both him and Bruce are in their suits from the New 52, which is the rebranding of the DC universe after Flashpoint back in I think 2011.
Yeah.
The original comic. Yeah.
Yeah.
New.
The gold piping and stuff. It's pretty.
Yeah, it's the suits that you see on screen right now.
Yeah. And then, side note, or not side note, it's a whole topic for me. Barry's mom bought her own birthday cake for her birthday.
She did.
Before she died, the day she died.
I want you to explain the next one, because I don't have any idea what that means.
Okay, so, one Atlanteans are battling. They're in these green suits that look so close to the, Green Beetle style. Also, bruvs means bros in American.
When you say beetle, do you mean, the scarab?
Beetle, black
yeah,
beetle,
okay.
Green beetle, yeah. But specifically Green Beetle, who is, a Martian with a scarab.
That sounds cool.
He looks like that.
Okay.
He looks like them.
The next one is, do the tiny ones have to say Shazam or just one? All of them have to.
That's way ahead of where I'm at, but yeah.
It's not way ahead. What do you mean it's way ahead of where you're at? It's literally the next one.
I'm really good at reading people, and sometimes my brain jumps to different lines. Yeah.
What in God's name does number 11 mean? Rowan.
Superman equals GC Crazy. I thought that was pretty obvious.
Is it because Jesus Christ?
Yeah, GC Crazy.
Is that what you call him?
Y'all should listen to some Eddie Izzard so that people understand my references. I'm referencing a comedian in that. They use a lot of Jesus imagery for scrawny Superman. Probably because he's scrawnier, and in all the drawings, Jesus is scrawny. You know.
Cyborg is just
the most optimistic. He's like, no, the military would never. And you're like, no, the military did.
They did, and they absolutely would. The military is not this fantastical, mystical place. They're just, they do what they do.
We already mentioned number 9.
Yeah, we did.
Number 8's yours, if you want to call that.
The only villains in this world seem to be the Joker Gang, the Atlanteans, the Amazons, and Captain Boomerang.
No, everyone else is a good guy.
We've got Deathstroke's a good guy. Ocean Master's with Aquaman, so he's a bad guy.
He's an Atlantean.
But unfortunately, that also means both Aqualads, Tula, and everyone associated with Aquaman and Wonder Woman are all bad guys. But I found the way that that's worded funny because it's a gang in Gotham, two entire races of people, and Captain Boomerang.
You know, the Australian.
The Australian man. My next one is also
Also
mine.
called yeah, you get to say
If the Amazons are so bad, why are they so hot? That is all.
that is not what you wrote.
If evil, why sexy?
With two G's, by the way. I want people to know this.
That's the thing. You make your references, I make mine.
My references are not TikTok references.
You want to fight about it? If evil, why sexy?
If evil, why sexy? It's a good question. And then
There
I
are.
think you also put number 6, and we should skip that till the end.
Yeah, I was gonna say save that till the end because there's a lot of differences.
Jacqueline is up with number 1. Okay, so number 5 is mine.
Yes.
Batman has guns. Just willy-nilly kills people all the time. Through not Harley Quinn, off a building, all this other stuff. Also 5.1 is just me referencing Batman versus Superman and isn't needed. But Martha is the Joker.
You spelled Martha wrong the second time. I want it known that the second one is spelled Matha. I feel the need to Martha.
I've become Southern because Superman, obviously. And then complaint about the movie. My singular complaint is that it sometimes has weird 3D objects.
Yeah,
all objects.
that's my only complaint too.
The
entire ending run sequence is entirely 3D for no reason.
Yeah, and everything else has been flat with some 3D up to that.
The only one that I am okay with is that when he's in the Speed Force, time traveling, it's 3D.
3D lights.
Yeah, that works. But I feel like they made that, and then we're like, we could add this to other parts of the movie, and didn't need to.
They talked about the snark. We talked about the snark, not them. But what we missed was Captain Cold made his signature cold puns once.
He did? I wasn't paying attention.
One cold pun for him. Oh, and then Flashpoint, by the way, history of Flashpoint, real quick, is what they use to restart the universe anytime they were like, we don't like our universe anymore.
Well, to my knowledge, they've only done it once. The other time there was Crisis on Infinite Earths back in whenever that came out. Then there was Flashpoint in 2011. And then there was an event, I think it was Convergence, that converged the multiverse together once again to create Rebirth.
Yeah. Is Rebirth the one where Superboy punches his way into the universe?
That's Infinite Crisis. I don't know if that happened during Rebirth or not.
Okay. Infinite Crisis. Gotcha. I get them all.
There's a lot of crises, which we will talk about more when we eventually get to the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Crisis on Earth X, and Crisis on Two Earths. And there's so many.
If there's a crisis, we will talk about.
We will. I just got a notification from a possible future host.
Interesting. And then final thing was number 6. We're going to talk about the differences between the movies and the comic.
Yes. The main one that I noticed almost immediately was that at one point, it's when, towards the beginning, where they're all having the hologram meeting on the rooftop. In the comic, there was a scene after Batman left where they were talking, and heroes started to leave because they said, without Batman, this team has no hope of success.
They also lessened the amount of heroes for this.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. No, there is one thing that we haven't mentioned that I just remembered is in the notes.
Okay, go for it.
There's a certain rhyming demon that's in this movie.
Oh, my favorite.
I love Etrian so much.
I wish I... Okay, also, first time I saw Etrian in anything was one. It was a Justice League episode that somebody put on like TV, and I hadn't seen the rest of the Justice League cartoon, and they all became kids, and Etrigan became a toddler that rhymed, and it was beautiful. You know what I'm speaking of?
No. My first introduction to Etrigan was Batman the Brave and the Bold. Because I watched the
Nice.
hell out of that show. And I would do it again because it's fantastic.
I think I've seen all the DC cartoons at this point.
I have not. We talked about that last episode. I haven't seen Batman the Animated Series.
Which is just like the most shame, because that's where Harley Quinn is introduced for the first time ever.
Yeah, and also it's my favorite version of both Batman and the Joker. I love Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. They are the best voices for those characters.
No, okay, so you know how like one guy in all of DC, the comic company, owns Batman?
Yeah, I don't like him.
Because they were like, Batman sucks, and he was like, no, trust me, it doesn't. So
Remember when Bob Kane just entirely stole all of the credit for Batman?
Just all of it. But the thing he did there, one, he was talking to Mark Hamill about the Joker at one point. He was saying like if they made a Mount Rushmore of the best 4 Jokers, Mark Hamill's would be like the big and main one.
Yeah.
And I think that's fitting.
I think if they made it one of all the Jokers, if we had to pick 4, it would be Mark Hamill, Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and I honestly don't know who the 4th would be.
I agree with you all the way up, and I think the 4th would probably be another voice actor. I'm just not sure which one.
Yeah, I would. The one that comes to mind for me is John DiMaggio. He plays him in Under the Red Hood.
I love that version of the Joker as well, like the Under the Red Hood.
Yeah, I just love that movie. It's so good.
It is solidly one of my favorites. We should watch that soon as well.
We should. And there's also that Choose Your Own Adventure Death in the Family movie that came out last year.
I forgot that existed.
I did too. It's on HBO. Okay, I'm gonna rant for a second. Death in the Family is on HBO Max. But it's not Choose Your Own Adventure.
Interesting.
It's literally just Death in the Family. And it's so boring. It's like an hour long. And I got really excited when I saw that it was on there. And then I looked it up, and there was no choices. It was just the movie. Okay,
also,
sorry.
Off topic once more. But I was thinking about it, like, last night. Previously, I think you mentioned you hadn't seen the first 3 X-Men movies.
No, I have.
Okay, someone else mentioned it. Never mind, not you.
I don't like the first 3 X-Men movies. That might be what you're thinking of.
You are wrong. You are wrong.
I don't like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man all that much either.
You know, that's okay. Sam Raimi films don't do Spider-Man justice.
They don't.
They do New York in the Spider-Man in comics really well.
Yes. You're the.
Then,
can I just mention the quips in that movie because they're so bad.
Yeah.
You're the one who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind. Oh, that's the kind of thing that you think when you think of Spider-Man's jokes. God, I hate those movies.
I found MJ boring in those.
Kirsten Dunst, she exists. She was there to be hot. That's about it.
And then I'm gonna say something controversial about all Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
I have enjoyed the Tobey Maguire
You
Spider-Man.
mean Andrew Garfield?
Yes, that's what I meant. I know names. They all look the same.
The Amazing Spider-Man is what she's referring to.
Yes, but you have to admit all three Spider-Mans look the same.
I mean, Tom Holland is like a foot shorter than the others.
I think Andrew Garfield's the tallest, but that just could be because he looks tall.
He does look tall. Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man. This has nothing. We could not be further from the topic of the podcast.
I mean, we could. I'll tell you that, we could.
Let's just start talking about history.
Because I could be talking about Underworld comics.
That's true.
And how Reyes from the movies also wrote the comics, and it's beautiful, and that's his actual voice, like they didn't modify it in the movies.
Yeah.
The guy with the super deep voice. Did we have anything else we wanted to mention? Because I think we ran through every single point.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got, other than like if I wanted to talk about comic book news.
Ooh, I had one more thing on the Speed Force.
Okay.
In quotable lines. One, Barry is trying to regain the Speed Force. He's talking to the Speed Force. That's why the Speed Force is in the character list, by the way.
Uh-huh.
But he's talking to the Speed Force, and he has this great and quotable line about, like, asking the Speed Force to choose him, and I don't remember it, but it was quotable.
I don't remember either. It was probably when I was getting food in the middle of the movie.
I think it was when you were getting food.
I do have a couple of things to bring up, because this is the only opportunity I'm going to get before we get to season 7 of Flash.
Go for it.
Mirror Master and Mirror Mistress in the show has been done really well in media when they get to do anything. Mirror Master never gets to do anything. Like, he's used in the comics a lot. But in terms of other media, it's almost always Reverse Flash. They never utilize the rogues the way that they do in the Arrowverse. Specifically, you kind of bored what?
I'm kind of bored with Eobard at this point.
Yeah, I am glad that they kind of fully killed him off for now.
I mean, he also keeps showing back up in Legends.
True. But the only ones that I think have gotten a real time to shine are Captain Cold and Heatwave, because they're the only two that got more than 3 episodes of the show's total.
That's true.
Because Heatwave is still alive at the moment, and if my words are used against me at the end of the month when Legends starts, I'm going to cry.
If they kill off Heatwave, I am quitting.
I'm just gonna be sad.
I'm not quitting any of it, but I will be thoroughly unimpressed. Also, I think at our last podcast, or between the podcast, like when we weren't talking on there, we mentioned that both of us thought that Captain Cold might be coming back in this upcoming season.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that on the podcast.
Yeah, which I was very excited about.
Because they've been setting up a lot of more fallout from Crisis, and it really seems like they're going to start bringing characters that have died back.
Also, you guys, if you haven't seen it, you should watch Prison Break. It's not a comic book show, but it has Captain Cold and Heatwave as half-brothers breaking out of prison.
I'm trying to think.
Like
Wentworth Miller and Dominic Purcell. That's their names.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Also, Wentworth Miller is a gay icon, and I love him so much.
Also, first thing Wentworth Miller was ever in, we should watch on the podcast, because it's similar to comic books. It's comic book adjacent. And by that, I mean we should watch Dinotopia.
What is Thanatopia?
Dinotopia is a mini series about two half brothers and their dad who get trapped on an island where dinosaurs are still alive and they speak English. Also, humans live with the dinosaurs. And and David Thewlis, aka Remus Lupin, aka Ares from the Wonder Woman movies,
Oh,
is like
yes. I know
is
who
in it and is named something along the lines of Dr. Crab.
that. Dr. Crab?
And they don't even mention much about why she's named Dr. Crab.
I have found a picture of Wentworth Miller holding a baby dinosaur.
Yes, is it a Triceratops?
I think so.
3 horns and a nose horn.
I mean,
Nose horn.
tiny little stubs.
Yep.
That's all I've got, I think. This
We
one's
have a
not
lot
near.
of stuff.
This one's not nearly as long as the last one, but that's okay.
Much shorter movie.
It was by like 3 hours and something.
Yeah. Though we have so many more like notes.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to point out who gave me the ability to caps lock and why.
What have you done? I haven't been looking at the notes this whole time. What are you doing?
No, I haven't changed anything. I'm just looking at what was caps locked when I wrote it. Such as everybody. Guys. Guys is not caps lock.
Hope!
Just hope. Yes. Also, Scrawny Superman is just a double cap instead of a lowercase.
Indeed. But I think that might do it for this episode. If we don't have anything else to talk about, then
Ooh. I liked their use of comic book frames in it as well. It's like they used Martha with putting her hand up, which is onto her face, which is directly from the comics.
yeah. Thomas Wayne almost either almost did or did, it wasn't really obvious, beat Joe Chill to death.
Yes. It's unclear who killed who.
I mean, obviously he killed Bruce.
It's unclear if he's dead or alive.
He's, considering what we know about that Batman, he probably ended up dead, even if he wasn't dead at that point.
Also, Thomas buys cheap jewelry for his wife, and that bothers me.
Oh, we should probably talk about some stuff that's not mentioned here about Thomas Wayne. He's got his casinos, obviously. That part's like mentioned in the movie. But what's not mentioned is that he is friends or associates with Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. In in the comics, Cobblepot, on top of Wayne's fortune, helps fund the casinos.
Also, I don't know. Thomas Wayne is a weird character.
He is. He came back recently and is the reason that Alfred is dead. That upsets me.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with him, but there's not a lot to talk about with him. I call him Gun Batman a lot.
Gun Batman?
All the other Batmans are not as gun prone as him.
I mean, when Batman first started, he had a lot of guns.
Yes, but he also had very small children who all looked identical to deal with.
And had the same backstory. Because Jason Todd was literally a carbon copy of Dick Grayson for a long time.
Yeah. Also, can we mention how weird it is that he just adopts black-haired, blue-eyed boys and then whatever girls show up?
Yeah. Barbara Gordon. Of course. Stephanie Brown.
Thomas being the only exception to the adoption of boys rule.
I was about to mention something and I can't remember what it was now. Oh,
Was
you
it
have a
Joe?
problem. You have a problem with the fact that Bruce Wayne won't adopt Billy Batson.
I have. It's in his name. It's Bat-son. It makes sense.
And
Also, he has black hair and blue eyes and wants to vigilant.
how would they handle his costume as Robin?
Oh, so first off, he obviously has the Shazam powers still, right?
Yes.
But instead of the red and gold suit, it is red and green, like Robin's.
But the suit appears on him when he transforms. Does he transform into Shazam? Then
Yes.
just change clothes.
No, the suit is now red and green because they used like Zantana to fix it for them.
What did you call her?
I know.
There's
His name
not
is Zantana.
there's not an N in the middle of that name. It's
I
Zatanna.
want to change her name to Santana, so this is my compromise. Or they use Zatara, the old man.
Yes.
Or Dr. Fate.
Oh, I love Dr. Fate.
I don't know. Choose your favorite.
We're about to get Dr. Fate in live action, and I'm really excited.
I'm excited for that. Or they use whatever magic user you want to fix his suit red and green. Also, when he's not Shazammed out, he still wears the swim trunks and jacket that the OG Robin wore.
Oh my god.
Tell me this is not something you can imagine in your head.
It's really not. I'm gonna be honest.
Fine.
I'm gonna Google Shazam as Robin.
I'm not sure you're gonna get anything. Also, he has a bit of a similar story as Jason Todd in my headcanon, and just starts like attacking and murdering people.
Jesus, Rowan.
Listen, but the way he does it, instead of guns like Jason Todd, is he uses his electricity, and he just like yells Shazam while hanging on to people and lightning bolting them to death because they're like drug dealers or whatever.
Oh my god.
We're in between him and killing Cobblepot, because in this version, Cobblepot's the one who kills him. He's a mixture of Jason and Dick. And you know what? Let's throw in some Tim. He speaks Chinese.
Okay.
And doesn't sleep.
Who sleeps, honestly?
Batman, not his kids.
One thing that I do love about Batman is that it's canon that he trained his body to treat 2 hours of sleep as the recommended 8.
Yeah, but like, don't CEOs do that in general?
Probably. Well, we've been rambling for 10 minutes now, so we're a lot closer to the time.
Okay, back to the original thing. Flashpoint has a super long name. It's not needed. There is no Wally West in this version, mind you.
There is no Wally West.
Iris is a redhead. This is nothing new to you. This is nothing new to the audience.
Yes.
Barry is once more blonde.
Which is jarring to me because I've become so used to both Grant Gustin and Ezra Miller now.
Solid. Eobard does not take off his mask once, so I cannot tell you about his hair color.
He's blonde.
I cannot tell you about his hair color because his mask is not taken off once within the movie.
Yeah, but there is the time that he was shot in the head. You can see his hair.
Okay, fine. I can tell you about his hair color. He is also blonde.
And also, we do see him take his mask off in a different movie. But that's for later.
Doesn't count. Doesn't count. We're just in this movie.
Okay.
What else? Oh, Thomas takes off his mask once. He has gray hair.
He does. He's
Um,
old. He's an old man. He should be Ben Affleck.
Batman, as in Bruce Wayne Batman, seems to be wearing a heck of a lot of makeup in the final scene with him.
What else is new? Honestly, let's be
Batman
real.
wears a lot of makeup. It's fine. Well, Bruce does. Apparently, Thomas does not. What else? Hal Jordan is fun, but he's barely in it.
Yeah,
It's fun.
he gets killed off pretty quick.
And also is the only Green Lantern shown, which implies that Kyle and John and Guy don't exist, I think.
They probably exist. I'm just gonna assume that John is just like a basic ass construction worker.
I assume people don't exist until they show up in the show.
That's how it works. If we don't see them, they don't exist.
Yeah. Oh, if we're watching The Lord of the Rings and we're in a scene where Frodo's not there, does Frodo exist? I think not.
Even though we had seen him before. So, in scenes where Batman's not on screen, Batman no longer exists.
Exactly.
Oh.
Also, under my relationship section, I have barreled in his ring because the way he treats that ring is the way some people treat their spouses.
He smacks the ring like he's Ben 10 smacking the watch.
There's also that. He is also Ben 10.
I would love to see Barry Allen with the Omnitrix.
I said it when we were watching this earlier. Because there's another character that looks like he's completely ripped off from Ben 10. I feel like this movie had a hand in Man of Action had a hand in this movie.
I want you to explain what that means.
So Man of Action is the company that helps do the designs for Ben 10, right?
Yeah.
And including like movement designs and stuff. And it feels like in this movie there's a lot of things that look like they could have been done by Man of Action.
Right.
And I feel like possibly someone who works for Man of Action was working on the animation or something.
Maybe. What she was referring to before, though, was I think it was basically just the Kraken, but it looked exactly like Ripjaw.
Yeah, it was a sea monster.
Alright, well, I think that's good. It's before when I said that we were getting to have a shorter episode, it was at 40 minutes, and we are now at 53 minutes.
Success. I have talked about nothing for at least 13 minutes.
I'm so proud of you. Alright, well, if you're listening to this, then it's been 2 weeks since we recorded it. Because this is going up next Monday. Right now it's March 21st. I'm dating it. I'm dating the episode.
Cool. I have stuff on the 25th.
Alright. Well, I'm saying today is the 21st.
I know, but I thought today was like the 19th.
No, the 19th was Friday.
I'm good at days.
Good job. Well, thank you so much for listening. Next should be Arrow, depending on how quickly we're able to get through that.
Or a movie.
Yeah, it'll either be. If it's not Arrow, then it'll probably be the follow-up to this, which is Justice League War. So that we can get through all of the universes quickly.
There's a lot of Arrow.
There is a lot of Arrow. And once we get past season 2 of Arrow, then we're gonna have to branch out more into Flash and then Supergirl. There's a lot.
I think our plan is to watch in half seasons.
Once we get to the point where there's actual crossovers, yeah, that's the plan.
So we're having to watch a full season for an episode first, so it might be 4th.
Yes.
Movies quicker to watch.
That'll be around when we get to around season 3 of the Flash, because that's the first time there's a big shows wide crossover with Invasion.
There's still way more to watch. So either Justice League or Arrow.
Yes, but if anyone that's listening has any suggestions, don't hesitate. Tell us if we think it's something that we could talk about for an hour. We will absolutely make an episode about it.
And also, it probably doesn't have to be superheroes.
It doesn't.
It's been all superheroes because that's what we enjoy.
Exactly.
But I'll watch anything.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. If you managed to make it to this point.
Bye, y'all.
Goodbye.